And then they've hired all of these people. The insiders say 50% more in salary than anybody else. That's baseline. 50% more in salary than anybody else in New York. 75%, 100%. They had a hard time getting the executive level because the executive level have been told that all major decisions come out of Qatar. And so the Middle East makes all of the real decisions. And so you're kind of just a figurehead. I mean, you're going to make some day-to-day decisions, but all of the main decisions come out of the Middle East.
Yeah, one thing that confuses me about this whole Al Jazeera thing, and whatever, they can be on there, and that's fine.
They have a right to be.
My question though is, they're spending this money why? To influence American culture, right? They want to get the opinion of the Middle East into America, make inroads. Why call it Al Jazeera America then? Like, if they named it America First News,
that's what I would have done. I would have completely changed the entire name and structure of it.
And we would have reported, hey, this is owned by Al Jazeera. It's just Al Jazeera. But 90% of people wouldn't even have heard that or known it or cared.
Because I think that
they may also be trying to reposition the Middle East itself. They might want us to know so that they can completely reposition.
I really truly believe. Remember, you know how this network started. Do you know why this network started?
What, Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera. Any idea? I told this story on TV last night. I didn't even know. It's fascinating. The Prince of Qatar, or however we say it, I like to call it Qatar. The Prince of Qatar overthrew the king. And when he took control of Qatar, the BBC was there, and it was BBC World. And the BBC was going to do a special on Sharia law and executions under Sharia law. And he didn't like the way they were trying to frame that. And he didn't like the negative connotation of Sharia law that they were going to put on it. And so he banned the BBC World and said, I'm going to do it. And in fact, I'm going to become BBC World, one that won't denigrate Sharia law. And so he started Al Jazeera. And then he has just taken all of his oil money and he's just poured it in. There's no shortage of money. They can have no commercials. You know, when Hillary Clinton gave that speech where she's like, and they don't have any commercials, and they don't. Yes, they do. They're trying to sell commercials. Thank God no one will buy their commercials.
6 minutes an hour.
6 minutes an hour, and most of it's promo stuff.
Yeah.
I mean that's crazy stuff.
They don't need it. I mean,
No, but they don't need it. No. They don't care. They don't care. He's on a mission. This network is on a mission for Sharia law. In their first 6 minutes, I will tell you that I thought it was a nice tip of the hat. I just saw it up on the Blaze. The only reason why I know any of this stuff is because I was reading the Blaze, and it says, "Can you spot the shot at Beck in the first 5 minutes?" And I don't think it was a shot at Beck. I thought it was actually a nice stroke to us. They were showing all of these on these huge monitors. They were showing all of the people. All of the networks. And they said, America has a lot of voices, but it's time for a real voice from the Middle East that hangs out with terrorists. And they were showing they showed MSNBC, they showed Fox, they showed CNN, and then they showed us, which I'll take that every day of the week. I'm glad to have I'm glad to have the Blaze and let them recognize. And I personally believe the only ones that really will see us as a threat will be Al Jazeera. Because I really think we were in a corporate meeting last night, and I had all of the head guys of the company in, and they gave me an update on all the things that we have coming. And boy, next month we have some really exciting news. We're going to kick off some stuff next month that you're just really going to like. But I said at the end, I know I've been saying this for a while, but this system is now collapsing. Everything is collapsing. And if we just all really pay attention and do the things that we're supposed to do, we are going to thread the needle between these collapsing networks and this collapsing system. And we'll be on the other end standing up. And I really, truly believe that, because these networks are so arrogant. They're not even willing to admit that they're collapsing. We know they are, and so we're going to thread the needle right between them and miss all of their wreckage coming down on the heads of all the other networks. The only other one that I think really understands that is Al Jazeera and maybe RT, Russia Today. And those guys are doing it because they're trying to collapse the Western system. And so they're expecting it, and they're building for the future. And Al Jazeera is so arrogant. The reason why they wouldn't rename it, I'm sure, is because they actually believe that Sharia law is supreme. Just like I would never rename the Blaze. I wouldn't rename the Blaze. The Blaze was named after the burning bush and named after George Whitefield and his publication called The Blaze. That's what I believe that. And I believe the power of God and the power of truth will burn everything out. They happen to believe that Al Jazeera, that Sharia law is going to reign supreme. I don't. I think the Constitution and God's law will reign supreme. Is it interesting that their logo looks like a flame as well? Have you noticed that? What is that?
That's just because the Middle East is always on fire, though. That's a different reason.
No, I'm very well aware of why it looks like a flame. We will set you afire. We will set you aflame if you don't listen and you watch. So I get it. I get it. By the way, an update on the Middle East coming tonight from Buck. We have been in touch with the Coptic Christians in Egypt. And they are telling us now, I had a briefing this morning, and they're telling us now that the networks are censoring what is really, truly happening on the streets. I don't know what the other networks are saying, but they're now saying that the other networks are reporting about half of what is really happening with the Coptic Christians, and it is all Muslim Brotherhood stuff. On a related note, I think it was last month, in the last month, the Al Jazeera Egypt team walked on Al Jazeera because they got corporate dictate that said, slant your news in favor of the Muslim Brotherhood. And so all of the Egyptians walked. That's significant. You want real unbiased news that tells you the truth? Or are you looking for just another shill for the Muslim Brotherhood? If you're looking for the shill, you got one in Al Jazeera. You want somebody who's going to tell you the truth and be standing at the end of all this? Call your cable operator and ask them for the Blaze. Go to gettheblaze.com and ask them, hey, you put 48 million homes now have Al Jazeera. That's interesting. And you watch AT&T. Are they going to fold? Are they going to fold? They were one of the few that said no to it. Are they going to fold? Now that Al Jazeera is suing them, how so very care-like of you to bully people into doing it. You call and politely ask your cable operator for the Blaze. Believe me, they're hearing you. Believe me. And thanks for doing it yesterday. GetTheBlaze.com.